Hello there, Ray here, and we did it, guys. We accomplished another year of the Halloween event. We stuck with it. I stayed awake for the entire 24 hours, and we collected all these different types of mobs that only can be acquired during Halloween, and they're going to really look awesome on our server once we get them all in their place. But in this episode, I just want to talk about all the different things that we did during the live stream. If you want to see the entire live stream, all 24 hours, you can see it down in the description. It's all archived. Pretty amazing. If you just want to see the highlights and different things that we acquired during the live stream, different things that we came across, that's what this episode will be about. But big thanks to everyone who joined me on the live stream. It was a lot of fun, and it was pretty crazy to stay up for 24 hours just playing Minecraft. I mean, I never done anything like that before. But let's get into this. So the start of the live stream was a bit rough because we thought the Halloween event was going to start at Eastern Standard Time, but it ended up starting at Pacific Standard Time, so we lost about 3 hours. So we had to wait around quite a bit just to get the Halloween event to get started. And then once it did start, which was around Pacific Standard Time, midnight, then we got here at the quad spider farm and started AFKing. Now these spawners would only work at night because that's when strays can spawn. They need to have sky access, so we had to wait till it was actually dark out before they would spawn. And these spawners would produce spiders, but there's a 1 in 100 chance to produce a spider jockey. And then out of that spider jockey, there'll be a skeleton on top. And then in 1.10, which is the version that we were in, we have a chance of having a stray instead of a normal skeleton. That's an 80% chance of it being a stray and 20% chance of it being a skeleton in a cold biome. That's why we built this up in a cold biome, and we pushed these dungeons in too. Some other things that we noted about here is that the actual conveyor or the actual tube here worked really amazing for collecting them up. Most of the time, we were kind of waiting for strays to work with. So once we got some strays in here, we cleaned out the tube pretty quickly. But one thing that KK and Robi pointed out is that we could come in and we could increase the amount of spawning spaces for the spiders by removing the glass above the spawner. So let me go over here and look at this spawner right here. And we had a glass piece up on top of here, but by removing that piece, we were able to get more spawns here. And let's say a spider was trying to spawn over here. So if a spider would try to spawn right here where this block is, it would intersect this block and it would prevent him from spawning. Same goes for this spot, this spot, this spot. So we lost a lot of spawning spaces just by having this block, this one single block above the spawner here. So we removed that block, and KK and Smokey came in here and placed in snow golems, which was really amazing because the snow golem, if a spider did spawn there on top of that block there, then he would be able to shoot the spider off and allow him to fall down and not hold up the cap around the spawner, which is great too. So that's one way we increased a lot of spawning spaces. We did this to all 4 of the spawners, which was amazing. And then we had the sorters that we had over here, which you guys probably seen already. Just sorted out the spiders from the spider jockey. Spider jockey is a little bit taller, and they activate tripwire, and then they get sent up to the collection tube, and that worked really nicely as well. And the minecarts are cycled around. Yeah, so down here is where all the magic happened, and towards the end we had a bunch of normal spider jockeys get spawned in here, and then we just let them despawn. But what happened is we'd fill this tube up with spider jockeys, such as this one here, and this is a stray riding on top of a spider with the speed effect. So a couple different things that we're going for over the course of the 24 hours was, biggest one was to get mobs that were discontinued. So mostly during Halloween, we just try to collect mobs that have jack-o'-lanterns or pumpkin heads. So the chance of a pumpkin head getting on top of a mob has to be an undead mob to start with to be able to get a chance of having a pumpkin or a jack-o'-lantern on their head. But what we would go for is that the pumpkin chance of them having a pumpkin on their head was a 22.5% chance of every mob having a pumpkin on its head. And there's also like a 2.5% chance that a mob will have a jack-o'-lantern on its head. So pretty slim chance that we'll have a pumpkin, and a really small chance that we'll actually have a jack-o'-lantern on its head. So that's normally what we go for during Halloween, but this Halloween we're going for a very specific type of mobs, and we are going to really try to push towards mobs that were no longer acquirable in future versions. So now in 1.10, we have these really special mobs, which are strays running on top of spiders, and this only occurred in 1.10 because strays were introduced in 1.10, and then 1.11, the game no longer looks to put a stray type of skeleton on top of a spider. So now in 1.11, if it wants to put a skeleton on top of the spider, it'll always be the generic type of skeleton. And I don't think we collected any of these any of those type of skeletons here. So I think we got all strays. Yeah, mostly going for strays here. So I think that's what we collected. But you can see that because of this being discontinued in future versions, we would want to take advantage of this. So this Halloween, we really pushed towards getting those type of mobs, and you can see we did quite well. So straight spider jockeys being a discontinued type of mob in the game, we really collect up on quite a few of them. Now during Halloween, they had the extra ability to have pumpkins and jack-o'-lanterns on them, so we took advantage of that as well while we are in 1.10. Now let's check out the different ones we got. The way we kind of started out is that once we had one that was somewhat decent, we would take them out of the rail system here, and then we would just push them over here into these little teeny cages that we built up. And we kind of start from this side and we start feeling that direction as we got more. So right off the bat, we got the first stray. Oh, I got too close to him. But we got right off the bat, we got a spider jockey with a stray on top of it. This is the first one we got, and we went ahead and we saved him. Pretty cool to start off the bat. And then we actually got one with the pumpkin on top of his head, which is cool. And then we just continued on getting different types. Like here we got one with some armor, and this guy has the speed effect too. Now for the spider to get a speed effect, it's a 10% chance, which is kind of low, but it's nice to have that as well. And then we got ones like more armor, some other armor with enchanted bows, and then we got some more pumpkin ones. Now, if you kind of figure out how many pumpkin ones it takes before you get a jack-o'-lantern one, on average you'll see about 10 pumpkin-headed ones before you'll see a jack-o'-lantern headed one. So we got a couple more pumpkin ones, we saved up those, a couple armor guys just because they're going to be discontinued, so we saved those as well. And then we started getting a streak of getting tons of pumpkin guys. So we got this pumpkin guy, which is really cool. And then we got our first jack-o'-lantern guy. I was so amazed. I sent out a tweet saying that we got him because this is the real prize of this whole event. Trying to get this guy. You can see he is on top of a spider and he's a stray. And he has a jack-o'-lantern head. So the spider part is a 100% chance, and him being a stray is at 80% chance, and the jack-o'-lantern head is only a 2.5% chance. And you can add all those up and it gets quite rare. Now we collected a bunch of more with pumpkin heads, and one thing to notice about the pumpkin head ones is that you can give mobs that have pickup item tag. You could give them a pumpkin and they could wear the pumpkin as like a piece of armor. So really, to make these to be considered actually a Halloween item or a Halloween entity, you would have to make sure that they do not have the pickup item tag on them. Now we did not check this with these guys, but it doesn't really matter. We can check that later. That's just something to note, that you could give a skeleton a pumpkin any time of the year, but something like a jack-o'-lantern cannot be given to a pumpkin any time of the year, or cannot be given to a mob any time of the year. Only during Halloween can they get them. Now this guy we got just after this guy over here, and I was so amazed to get this guy. This guy is amazing. Look at him. He's on top of an invisible spider. Isn't that crazy? And he has a pumpkin head. Oh, that's so cool. And this guy, I gotta say, is probably the second best out of all the ones that we collected, just because getting a spider with a potion effect is like I said, it's a 10% chance, but getting out of the different potion effects they could get, he actually got the invisibility one, which is only a 20% chance, so he got a 10% chance and then a 20% chance. You can see the chances are getting quite small to get this type of mob. And then we got some more pumpkin guys here, and this guy is another jack-o'-lantern guy. As you can see, this guy has pickup items. Accidentally killed some other strays inside that tube, and their armor fell down, and I didn't pick up the armor in my inventory, so this guy ended up picking up the armor. And this is what I was talking about. We can make sure the pumpkin guys do not have pickup armor, and it kind of made him look a little bit uglier, but we can switch out his armor later on if we want to. We can put in some like dyed armor, like some orange dyed armor. We can really make this guy look fancy. Tell me if you guys have any ideas with some of these guys. If you want to put some armor on them to be really cool, we can dress some of them up. And here's another stray that we just held on to, and we got a couple more pumpkin guys down here at the end. Something like this guy, you can see how he has an enchanted bow, and this guy has an enchanted bow as well, so we kind of kept those guys around. And a few more pumpkin guys just to finish it off. Now, like this guy, I think these guys are all right-handed. I think we might have had a left-handed bow. Not too sure. These are all right-handed, right-handed, right-handed. These guys are all right-handed. All those guys are right-handed as well. Maybe it's at another spot. We'll check that out later. But we did, I think we got one that was left-handed, but that's pretty cool. So out of all the different ones that we collected from this quadruple mob spawner, the spider spawner, was a lot of different cool different types. here, this guy, he's right-handed as well. And we'll put him into a housing over there as well. But what we would do is that he would just be in a minecart, and then we have a piston that would retract and pull the slab all the way, and then we push him forward and push him onto this rail. This is obviously for 1.10, so the setup might not work for later versions. But out of the variations that we could have got, the most rarest type would have been a jack-o'-lantern headed one. So let's go look at our jack-o'-lantern headed guy. There he is. So what we could have possibly got, the best case scenario, would be an invisible spider, which is 20% or 10% chance that the spider is invisible, 20% chance that it's invisible. On top of that, then there's a 1 in 100 chance that it is a spider jockey, 80% chance that it's actually a stray, 2.5% chance that it has a jack-o'-lantern head on top of it. Then there is a 5% chance that it will be holding its bow in the left hand instead of the right hand. So that's a new thing that was added to 1.9, and we didn't have that in other years of Halloween. This is the first year that we could actually collect mobs with left-handed bows, which really makes our job quite hard. Now, on top of that, we have a chance of him picking up items, because he could pick up items, which would make him more rare, because it's a chance that he can pick up items. And I think the item picking up chance is around 55% on best case scenario. And then there's a chance that his bow will be enchanted, which is around 25% chance. Now, some things to remember is that if he does pick up items, that means you could give him an enchanted bow. So that kind of conflicts with each other. But if you would add up all those percentages up, the chance of this type of mob existing, the one that I just talked about, is very slim chance. There's your chance of him existing. It's only 0.00000275% chance of you getting him out of one spider spawn. So yeah, it's extremely hard, and seeing that there's only 24 hours, there was quite a few guys in the streams that were calculating the chances of me getting one with 4 spawners and getting so many mobs out of that spawner per hour, and how many hours we had left in the stream. It was a lot of fun trying to calculate it, but there's always that rare chance that you'll get one of the really cool ones, and I think we did pretty good just getting the invisible one, which I really wanted to get. There he is, as well as the jack-o'-lantern headed one, and we also got another one over here. So I was pretty amazed how well we did with this setup here with the quadruple spider spawner. Really cool. We'll be looking forward to AFKing here just to get some normal type of spiders in the future. But let's head over to the next spot that we were AFKing at. So over by our ice spikes biome, where we collect packed ice, we had this spawner down here, down in the ground that we found. And this one we also used to collect different types of strays that were riding on top of spider. So it's like a spider jockey with a stray on top of it. And with this one, we also came and put in a snow golem to increase the spawn rates and remove the glass above it. This did help. One thing that we did notice that during dark, the mobs that came from spawners that were access to sky, even though it was dark out, had a way lower chance of producing spiders than the ones that were completely blocked in at, like in a cave, normal mob spawner, completely dark inside. It's quite interesting, and so that way we actually got less spawns than we normally would. But it works the same way. The mobs will come over here, and we get sent over here, and we sort them out the same way as well, where we kill off the spiders and save the jockeys. And down here we had the tube where we would store them. This one did not collect as many mobs, mostly because it was one spawner, and it also just didn't have as much luck as the other one. But you can see these are the mobs that we collected from prior. So before the Halloween event, we collected all these type of mobs, and this is mostly what we were going for. Mobs with armor, mobs with spiders with potion effects, and so on. And we got also left-handed and right-handed mobs. Kind of cool stuff. But we also had a chance of getting a Halloween such mobs like this one here. This is just a skeleton without the spider, but you can see down at the very end we collected a couple pumpkin-headed ones. So over here, this is a pumpkin-headed one on top of a spider, and this one over here is also a pumpkin-headed one on top of a spider. That's pretty cool, and that's about all we really acquired from this spawner right here. It wasn't, like I said, it wasn't as fruitful as the other one, but it was kind of nice to collect different ones. Now, we did have a jack-o'-lantern headed one come from here, but my guy accidentally logged off or disconnected or something. And when you relog into a game, especially a server, there is a chance that the mobs around you can despawn when other players are in the overworld. It's kind of an annoying bug, but pretty much what happened is my guy logged in and the mob was seeing that my player wasn't here and he despawned, even though because these chunks were loaded as entity processing chunks and because other players were in the overworld, and we lost the guy. Well, what we did was actually lost the spider, and we just came down here and we just seen a jack-o'-lantern headed guy. So that was kind of annoying, but it occurs sometimes. So just as I said, having a stray riding on top of a spider is a discontinued mob in future versions past 1.10. Now, so is having a wither skeleton riding on top of a skeleton horse. Oh, I got a normal skeleton in here. Anyways, what we would do is that we have a trap horse farm, and we built in a prior episode. The trap horse farm would allow us to collect trap horses, and we push them into the Nether Portal, and then that would allow us to get these wither skeletons. So essentially, when we open up the trap horse in the Nether dimension in 1.10, game would search the area and it would see that it needs to put a skeleton on top of a skeleton horse, and it would choose any type of skeleton. So this would have 80% chance of having wither skeleton and a 20% chance of having normal skeleton, sort of like that one that was shooting at me. The normal skeleton has bows and they shoot at you, where these wither skeletons have enchanted helmets as well as enchanted swords, where like your normal trap horse with their horseman would have an enchanted helmet with an enchanted bow. So that allows them to get enchanted swords on wither skeletons, which you normally can't get. Now during Halloween, we can get we can even get these guys to have jack-o'-lanterns and pumpkins on their heads. These guys were all collected prior, and the problem is in this area we had around 2,000 entities, which we will have to sort out in a different episode. But for now, I just wanted to try to show you what we did. So just underneath those wither skeletons that are riding on top of the skeleton horses is this spot here. This is a new cage that I built up just for Halloween. Those ones up above we collected prior to Halloween. And a whole month before Halloween started, I stuck my account at the Trap Horse Farm, and we AFK there, and this would allow lightning to strike. And then every time a trap horse would spawn from the lightning, it would get pushed towards the center and you can put it into another portal. I will put a link in the description if you want to know more about the trap horse farm. Once another portal, I built this nether portal here. You can see at the top of the screen. I'm not going to move around so much because it's extremely laggy here. But that nether portal has a boat inside of it with endermite in it. Endermite inside the boat is just to prevent the boat from teleporting, and the boat is going to push any mobs that come out of this portal. And once a trap horse would get inside the nether portal, he'd come here to the nether dimension, it would automatically unload immediately. This will allow us to prevent the trap horses from despawning, because if the trap horse is loaded as entity processing chunks for 15 minutes, then it will despawn, and we don't want our trap horses to despawn. So for a whole month, I AFK'd and collected around 200 trap horses. Then I had them all stored here in this glass cage, and then as soon as I came by the player, then they got pushed out of the portal and landed down in the bottom here. Then I just walked around the edges. You can see I built a little scaffolding and just came out, and if I came within 10 meters of these trap horses, they would explode with the lightning. And you can see that in the live stream. I'll put a link in the description if you want to see that live in the live stream. But it was extremely laggy, so just keep that in mind. Now, when they spawned, since it's Halloween, not only do they have the normal chance of being a wither skeleton on top of the skeleton horse as I shown above, but they also have a chance of having a pumpkin on their head or a jack-o'-lantern on their head. Now by this ability of collecting up all the trap horses, which is a really good idea of mine, because this allowed us to be able to have an extremely high chance of collecting the most rare type of this, which is the jack-o'-lantern headed ones. You can see there's quite a few jack-o'-lantern headed ones in this cage here. And then we also want one that would have a left-handed sword, and the sword is automatically already enchanted. So we have a pretty high chance of getting this type of mob. About 1 in 1,200, I think, was the chance of getting this mob. And we opened up, like I said, 200 trap horses, so there's around 800 or so of these mobs. So there's a pretty good chance that we got the one we wanted. And you can see some of them are kind of glitched through the side of the wall. This was just because somebody accidentally came by and loaded them, and it kind of pushed a couple of them to the outside of the edge. But it turns out I went ahead and down below I built a little bit more, more scaffolding. You can't see it, but down below, just to protect them. Now this gets pretty crazy. You can see all of them inside this pin. We are going to eventually have to come through here and sort all these guys and take the best ones and then put the other ones elsewhere. Mostly for right now, we want to try to move these guys apart so that there's not so many entities in one area. It causes so much lag. And we can do this in a later episode. But pretty much this is the two main things I went for during Halloween, was these wither skeletons with jack-o'-lantern heads, left-handed enchanted swords. riding on top of skeleton horses, and also those rare jack-o'-lantern headed spider jockeys that are strays. So that was pretty cool. I think we did pretty good during Halloween, but we also collected some other types of normal mobs that you can acquire during Halloween as well. So while we were collecting those other types of rare jockeys, we also came around and were collecting some normal type of Halloween mobs, such as the skeletons with either the pumpkin or jack-o'-lantern heads on them. And we were just collecting different variations like enchanted bow, non-enchanted, and even like a left-handed guy. Here's a left-handed guy with enchanted bow, pumpkin head. And during this, we came across this crazy guy. This is a fully diamond guy. And you can see the top, his helmet, as well as his chest plates are enchanted, and then his leggings, his boots are not enchanted. That's pretty crazy to have a fully diamond skeleton come out of a spawner, and that was just during the stream. And we have a spawner up here. This is just near our island where we have a couple skeleton spawners, spider spawners, and a couple zombie spawners. So here are our zombie spawner. We caught this guy this year. He's a jack-o'-lantern headed baby zombie riding a chicken. Pretty cool. He also pick up items. That means we can put a nice little outfit on him. This guy here is just a guy in leather. We also picked up this guy. And here is a pumpkin headed guy with enchanted shovel. These we collected this year. These other guys we collected from prior years, and we will have to get them into some proper display cases. So this was the outcome of one of our spider spawners near my island. Here we can see we got a pumpkin headed guy on a normal spider, and we also got a jack-o'-lantern headed guy on a spider as well. So these are not exposed to daylight, and we're not inside of a cold biome, so that way we just get normal skeletons. So here we got another guy over here, jack-o'-lantern headed. And yeah, pretty cool. Here's a left-handed pumpkin guy. And looks like the spider has regeneration effect. That's pretty cool to get. A lot of cool things there. And we collected a couple more guys. This guy, oh, that's another jack-o'-lantern headed guy. And he has enchanted bow as well. That's cool. So this is our husk farm where we collect different variations of the husk, and this is a exposed zombie spawner in a desert biome. So this is all the ones that we have collected. KK and Lynn were AFKing here. You can see they got a bunch of adult ones as well as husk and normal zombies, as well as one with swords, without swords, jack-o'-lantern heads, as well as pumpkin headed. Pretty cool. On this side is all the babies. So we got the baby husk wearing the pumpkin heads. Ones are riding chickens. You can see how we gradually increased them with all pumpkin heads, and towards the end we finally got some that had the jack-o'-lantern head on. Pretty cool. I don't think we ever did get one that had a chicken riding, or them riding a chicken, but that's pretty cool as well, because we can always try to get him in the future. This is on top of the husk farm, which is just a zombie spawner with sky access, and we have some of the chickens in here hoping that the zombies will jump on top of one of the chickens. This only works for 1.10, but while Lynn was here, he was kind of bored, so he built in this entire parkour course that goes from here all the way up to the very surface of the ground, and it looks pretty insane while he's working on it. I put some really hard jumps into it. I don't think I could get very far. Look at that, I can't even get past the first one, although I'm not very good with parkour, but yeah, you can see it's quite difficult, and he got some pretty insane jumps, like these ladder jumps. I was really amazed at all the different types of mobs that we collected this Halloween. It was a lot of fun, and it was always crazy to see what new type of mob was coming down the pipe here. And yeah, I think we did pretty good. One thing to note is that for some reason, the Halloween season ended on Eastern Standard Time, even though it started on Pacific Standard Time. I think it might just do with the server and where it was hosted, and then jumping into a new month or something weird. Something we'll have to look into for next year. So we only had about 21 hours instead of the full 24 hours, but I think we did pretty good. One thing we have to think about is which one of these do we want to put on display. I think we at least want to put the jack-o'-lantern headed guy on display, and maybe decide if we wanted to put the pumpkin guys on display or one of these other guys on display as well. We also got to decide how we want to put these guys on display. So tell me down in the comments if you want to, if you have any good ideas about how to put these guys on display. Think about around my island, or which guys we should put on display. Should we put more than one, or should we put a couple of them? And which one should we do? Tell me down in the comments. But yeah, I think we did pretty good this year. Thanks for joining me as I have fun in survival. It was a lot of fun, and yeah, bye-bye.